What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Welcome back to the What If series. It's been a while since I posted on this.
Yeah, you did Lesnar versus Stone Cold and then stopped doing
And
it.
then stopped because I'm terrible at timing.
And
I want to do Undertaker versus Sting. I want to do it. The heart is willing, but the body is not. So this is a very special edition because I'm not by myself.
the beatings will continue until morale improves. Morale has improved.
Is that how it was with Jinder Mahal? Is that really how it was? Because he, up until Tuesday, he didn't win a match until since 2012. I'm kidding you not.
Maybe it doesn't how it works. I don't know.
But this is a very special edition of the What If series. As you can see, I'm not by myself. Normally, there's one person doing this video. However, this is a big topic that I really feel both of us could cover.
Watch, we're going to book this, edit it and all, and by the time the last video uploads, it's gonna happen.
No! It's impossible. We're booking over the course of a year.
Not our bookings, but the event that we are booking happens.
Okay, so
that'd be fantastic.
The event we are booking is how should Kenny Omega be booked in the WWE? So, this is how the What If series works if you are playing along at home. So, the series starts with...
Wrestle-MaGiC, the home game.
So, the series starts with a brief history. The What If series is if you take a event or a match that was this close to happening, but for some reason never did. We talk about the history of it and how it could have happened, fantasy book it, and then from there, play a video game to see and set the difficulty to the highest level and see what would happen.
So, here's the thing though. Because he's still in active competition, unlike your Lesnar versus Brock thing, or Lesnar versus Brock, Stone Cold versus Brock thing, Stone Cold's no longer in active competition, so you would have to find a point in history where it would happen. But because Kenny Omega still... There are many points...
It could still happen.
Yeah, there are many points in the future where it could still happen, and I'm kind of relying on that because my booking takes place about a little less than a year in the future.
And mine takes place a couple weeks ago. So, but there was a point in time where it almost happened, and we're going to talk about this now. This is the history of Kenny Omega almost getting into WWE. So our story begins at Wrestle Kingdom 11. I believe it was January 4th or 3rd. I can't remember. I believe it was
Researching.
4th. I believe it was January 4th. It's every January 4th, I believe. Yes.
Yep.
Every January 4th, regardless of what day it lands on, Wrestle Kingdom happens. And Wrestle Kingdom 11 happened. And the main event...
Yes, Wrestle Kingdom 11 happened.
And
it happened to us.
And the main event was Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada.
Which, still a fun name.
Fun name to say, really hard to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So that match, everybody knew it was going to be good.
Mm-hmm. But nobody knew it was going to be Dave Meltzer's 6-star rating good.
The only televised 6-star rating, the only other 6-star rating match up to that point was an untelevised Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair match. So, that is an amazing feat. And right after that, Kenny Omega's stock rose. But I want to ask you, I showed you this match a few weeks ago. I showed you Omega versus Okada.
All hour of it.
All hour of it. What were your first impressions?
My first impressions was My first impression was,
First off, the first word you said to me after that was "ow."
yeah, because that was more stiff than I had ever seen, and if it wasn't stiff, then those men still got hurt, because I know that there are tricks you can do to, like, make things sound like they hurt by hitting yourself at the same time, or hitting yourself and not hitting the other person. I know you can do that. In fact, anytime someone does a super kick, their hands are in position to slap their thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, but even then, this match, none of that was going on, and you could hear it, and you could almost feel it just watching it. I don't know how stiff it actually was, but it sounded and looked very stiff.
Yes, very.
No one bled, but they got close.
Yeah. And so after that match, the stock of Kenny Omega rose. Everybody wanted him, and typically New Japan contracts ended at the end of January. So this combined with the week after Kenny Omega saying he's taking a break from New Japan, and combine that with the fact that John Cena posted a picture of Kenny Omega on his Instagram account.
John Cena is the greatest. Like, John Cena the man, say what you will about the character, John Cena the man, one of the best things to happen in wrestling in the past couple of years.
Yes.
Just because that was a great joke.
He's done that 3 times.
He's really good at it.
The first time was AJ Styles' picture, and he ended up showing up at the Rumble. The next year, Kenny Omega.
Nah.
And then later, in a month or so afterwards, he posted a picture of Jay Lethal. One of those has come true at this point. Combining all those things together, it was heavily rumored that he would appear at the Royal Rumble.
Heck,
Similar.
Seth Rollins wanted that to happen.
Yes, that is another thing. During the interviews on What Surprise Entrance,
now I want to see that match.
to the surprise entrance to the WWE Royal Rumble, Seth Rollins said he would love to see Kenny Omega in it.
And then a couple of minutes later, that article was taken down.
Well, it wasn't an article; it was a video.
Oh yeah, the video was taken down.
Video was taken down, and then Seth Rollins was cut out of it, and then it was reposted. So it ended up not being accurate. Even though he did say, I believe, that he had been in talks with WWE, they have reached out to him. But his focus is New Japan and building it to a worldwide scale.
Mm-hmm.
And he let it know one night or 2 nights before the Rumble, that he was not going to be appearing at the Rumble because he didn't want, and the only reason he was telling him that because he didn't want his non-appearance to ruin the show.
Right. So
they put Roman Reigns at 30. Nice one. But
oh, Kenny, you don't want to ruin the show? Don't tell me how to run my company. I'll ruin my show if I want to.
But Kenny Omega might have, depending on how the talks went, might have been this close to being on WWE TV.
A little bit of background information. You may not have, but I listened to the Talk Is Jericho podcast episode where he was talking to Kenny Omega.
Really?
That exists.
I didn't know that existed.
I think it's recent.
Me. Please inform me.
But basically, it was Chris Jericho from Winnipeg, Kenny Omega from Winnipeg, and then the third guy whose name I don't remember, but he was like...
from Winnipeg?
Yeah. 3 men from Winnipeg. That was that wasn't the episode title, but it should have been. But the focus was Chris Jericho is interviewing Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega said that at first he, liked the WWF and stuff. But then he started seeing, ECW stuff. And he liked the way the ECW guys worked. He liked the extreme style. And then he was at a formative time in his wrestling life when he was still learning to become Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And probably was going under the name of whatever his actual name is. But he was there for the basically invasion angle.
Really?
He was there, like he wasn't there, but he did see that happen, and he wanted to.
I'm gonna be looking something up real quick.
He liked the idea of these when ECW guys would show up, in WWE, they'd get this huge pop because people knew who they were.
Tyson Smith.
Okay then. Can't blame him for changing his name.
Yeah.
Because he has the most generic last name in the history of.
Well, his former ring names, he never used his actual ring name. His actual name. His other ring names were Scott Carpenter, according to Wikipedia, and Young Master Togo.
That's a kind of
to go.
Anyway.
Wait a minute. I see something about Eddie Guerrero. Oh, he didn't. I thought he was about to say he wrestled Eddie Guerrero, and I would have been like, dude, I'm.
Yeah, so he was in
We'll continue.
So he would see in the invasion angle these ECW guys show up, and everybody would just go nuts for them because they know who these people are, and they're in a WWE ring.
Mm-hmm.
So he liked the idea of that. He also liked that there were people who were making big names for themselves outside of the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of wanted to combine those two. So he started working towards going to work in Japan. Now here's the funny thing that he filled us in on. Chris Jericho didn't know this. The other guy he was with didn't know this. I didn't know this. There was a boot camp that Kenny Omega was a part of, where people would be training, putting on matches and stuff, indie guys, to eventually go to a larger promotion and just get better at their craft. It wasn't until a couple of weeks in that they revealed what the grand prize was for winning this boot camp thing. And the grand prize was a contract with the WWE.
Oh, is that like Tough Enough, maybe? Or
no, it was before that. It was
before Tough Enough.
It was a contract to go to, it was either OVW or.
OVW was the earliest one.
It was either OVW or it was the other one.
Mid-South?
Yeah, I think it was Mid-South. I think
that's what it is.
He was in the developmental with one of the guys from the Ascension. So wherever they would have been at.
Wait, one of the guys from the Ascension. That would have been either OVW. Wait, which one? Connor?
I don't remember which one. But the point is, Kenny Omega won. He had a contract with the WWE. He was in one of their developmental territories. But a couple of weeks in, he had
Deep South.
Yeah.
Deep South Wrestling.
Yeah, he was in Deep South. So he was in Deep South Wrestling for a while, from 2005 to 2006. So dangerously close.
Yes.
But what happened was he realized that everybody was being trained to work the same way.
And he wanted to be different.
He wanted to have his own style. He wanted to have something that set him apart from the crowd. So he went up to basically the guy who was in charge of him while he was in Deep South. Kind of like a behind-the-scenes manager sort of thing or whatever. But he was a behind-the-scenes manager for a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. He walked into his office and was like, look, I want to... I don't think this is for me yet. I think I want to work in Japan for a couple of years and then maybe make my way back here. And the guy he talked to understood completely. He understood what the merits of that was. So he said, all right, thank you for your 2 weeks notice, basically. And Kenny Omega left. There was a brief period of time where he just took a break from wrestling altogether. Then he went back into the indies. And then a couple of years later, he's in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so pretty much what the entire point of this tirade was that I wanted to point out that the reason that he hasn't shown up in WWE is not because he doesn't like the WWE. It's because he doesn't want to show up and have to introduce himself to people and try to set them apart while he's in the company. He wants to build a brand, basically, for himself. A easily recognizable style, an easily recognizable character. Basically get as big as he can outside of the company before he gets into the company, so when he does get in, it's a big thing.
Right.
Because he loves watching ECW guys show up in WWE and get just as big of a pop as The Rock or Stone Cold or Triple H did.
I mean, you look at Drew McIntyre, who was in WWE for a while, left, built his brand as Drew Galloway as one of like the best workers around, came back, and look at the amount of like hype he got when he just came back to NXT, and he's only been there for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
So it's pretty much the same thing, except Drew left later than Kenny did. He was already IC champion.
He had been IC and tag team champion,
and then he left. Kenny was in basically developmental and was like, not yet, leave.
Right, and AJ Styles was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Except it wasn't his decision. He decided not to pick up his contract. He decided it wasn't he had a contract and decided to leave. It was more so that WWE decided not to pick up his contract. And I find it interesting. It says right where in his beginning thing, right here. I'm still looking at the Wikipedia page, but still. It says that the most positive experience he had with WWE is being able to train with Dave Taylor, citing that before training with Taylor, he did not know the basics and got by purely on his athleticism.
Makes sense.
Smith had claimed that the WWE had since approached him several times to contract, including the spring of 2014 and 3 times in 2015, but he has turned them all down.
By turn them down, he probably just means passed on them. He doesn't mean. They probably don't mean actively said, no, your company's stupid and you're stupid.
Well, turning them down is still saying no.
Yeah, it's still saying no.
Saying no.
But turning them down is just kind of this language that automatically makes you think like, oh, he just shut the door on their face. No.
Yeah.
From the Talk is Jericho podcast, anytime he's on the phone with like Dave Meltzer or someone, and they ask him about WWE and eventually going there, he always says that he gives no indication that he doesn't ever want to go there. It's just
Holy
a matter.
crap.
What?
Reading this, AJ Styles and Kenny Omega had one match. They fought before.
Probably won't be able to find it. Do you know who also fought before? Kenny Omega and Daniel Bryan.
Really?
Now, this was when he was Bryan Danielson, and also the opening was just ridiculous. It wasn't like I don't know if it was. I didn't see the whole match. I just saw the opening of the match, but basically, they were super goofy at the beginning of the match.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see because like.
Of course, it's a wrestling.
Of course you're not gonna find.
Well, I see them teaming together. They've teamed together.
Yeah.
That's another wrestling game. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So. Where was I? I was somewhere. Oh yeah. So, they fought before, but that was that was a while ago. Basically.
That was a long time ago.
That was when Daniel Bryan was still Bryan Danielson. That was before Kenny had long hair, and also before it was partially black and partially dyed. It was all dyed. And it was also before he invented his New Japan character, I think, because he. Yeah.
All right, so with knowing all that, you have a different idea than I do on how he should be booked or should have been booked in the WWE, and that is where we're going to cut off this video. Now, this video is going to be up Saturday, and then both of our booking videos will be up Sunday. But before we sign off, I do want to make aware that I posted a question thread on the Wrestle-Amino app. For those who don't really have a lot of wrestling friends, or have want to be part of something bigger, Wrestle-Amino app is fantastic for this, where you can read other opinions and articles, and also post videos and questions and polls and stuff like that. And I posted a question that basically invited any of the people watching, who will be watching the show, to give their opinion on how Kenny Omega should have been booked, and I also giving him a shout out here. I'll also give shout outs to the people who liked this post as well. I don't think anybody liked this post in particular, but people started following me after I posted it. But here is the comment from the user on the Wrestle-Amino app known as Wrestling Network. He's a level 8, and he's been on the Wrestle-Amino app since January 2017, and he has 111 followers. Well, good job, Wrestling Network. But here is his comment. This is how he would book it. AJ Styles wins WWE Championship. He turns heel, cuts a promo, and Kenny Omega debuts. Kenny Omega wins the WWE Championship. Finn Balor beats him for it. The next night, I believe it's either on Raw or on SmackDown. I can't tell if he's doing Raw or SmackDown, whatever. Gallows and Anderson win the SmackDown titles. Tag titles. AJ Styles wins the US title. Kenny Omega wins the IC title. And the next night, after that, they would form either Bullet Club, The Club, or Balor Club. Please not The Club. He stresses that at the end of it. That is I like how it was quick, cut to the point. Thank you, Wrestling Network, again, for commenting. And thank you for participating in our video. And I like how he basically almost does an evolution type story where everybody in the group has gold. And I really like that. Another name that you could possibly think of, Wrestling Network, Bulletproof. Just saying. So that was the only brave commenter. Thank you for commenting. Any of the other what ifs or any of the other, I might start posting a question thread or opinion thread on Hot Topic. But they will get a shout out on this channel, as well as any questions or particular things answered right here.
Right.
So that's going to do it for the history section of the Wrestle-MaGiC What If. What if Kenny Omega was in WWE? Tune in on Sunday to see his video and mine. And be sure to hit the thumbs up button on which one you like the most. And in a week's time, we will figure out which one has more likes. And whichever one has more likes will be played on the next week's show. Alright? For myself and Brad, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you guys next time.